Yeah, the UIS is another one that's a real pain in the ass.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the UIS. We just finished up a live stream Friday night. Great stream as always. But I had a little segment in there where I again looked at Jett Franzen, and people have wondered, why do I keep watching this guy? Why do I have so much of a problem with this guy's content? And I really didn't have an answer at first, but tonight's stream, we watched one of his videos that was called "Working is Overrated. Stay Unemployed." And it really got through to me what problem I have with this guy, and that he's not the only one. There are tons of these so-called gurus out there that are these incels, have no experience, no real qualifications to be giving these kinds of advice to these people, and they're extremely popular. So there's 85,000 people who follow this person. If you look in their comments, they're all about how, oh my God, I love what you're saying here. And I find it very dangerous that this is the kind of person that's leading today's youth. They're following this guy, what he has to say, and I find it very dangerous. Now, it's America, so of course I want to support this guy's right to say whatever he wants, but I also have the right to speak out and say, this is dangerous. You people should not be looking to this person for advice. Tonight's stream, we watched and I sort of reviewed and critiqued what this guy has to say, and I hope you guys enjoy. Here we go. So I'm debating whether or not to click this video. I'm not even sure AI could make this funny. Let's see what else this genius says. Work is treated like the ultimate goal, but no one stops to question why. This breaks down how modern work culture became something people blindly accept, even when it drains time, energy, and purpose. The idea that being constantly busy equals value is challenged, along with the pressure to follow a path that doesn't actually fulfill most people. Instead of glorifying the grind, this explores what it really means to step back, think independently, and question whether the system you're told to commit your life to is even worth it. Not all jobs are a part of the fucking system, right? Again, this person has never had a job really for any length of time. Definitely doesn't have a career to get away from. Back in the old days of the UIS, I had this section. This was, of course, before message boards were all the rage. They had them, but it was a lot easier just to type shit in HTML and then upload it, and then there's your shit. And so I had a section called Really Bad Advice, where people would send me questions, and they did, and I would give them really fucking bad advice. This seems like something I would have said back then when I was his age, maybe younger.
If you clicked on this video thinking, oh, I need to work in order to pay the bills and survive.
If you clicked on this video thinking that you need to, what?
Oh, I need to work in order to pay the bills and survive. You can just go ahead and click off because I don't think this video is going to be for you.
Hold on now. Let me listen to what the fuck he just said again.
If you clicked on this video thinking, oh, I need to work in order to pay the bills and survive.
If you clicked on this video thinking, I need to work in order to pay the bills and survive, because the mind of a 22-year-old incel says that my parents will be alive forever. How they got their money, I don't know. I don't understand. I've never asked. I think they're just rich. I don't know what they do leave. They leave in the morning for about 8 or 9 hours and they come home. I'm not sure what they do, but I'm sure they're out spending money because they're rich. And so they're going to be around forever. And everybody has parents like that. And so you should not work because working is overrated. Stay unemployed. Never put any product in your hair. Just let it be a fucking broccoli and have milk crates stacked up behind you.
You can just go ahead and click off because I don't think this video is going to be for you. I think it's absurd that we have a finite amount of time on this planet and we decide to spend most of it not with our family, not with our friends, not pursuing something we're interested about, but rather renting our soul just to get by for a corporation that does not care about us. Employment is so overrated. There's so much.
Because everybody works for a huge corporation, right? There are no privately owned businesses. It's all corporations.
Shame that our society puts on people who are unemployed. You just read the comment section of like half of posts that are made on social media, and it's like these people get a kick of some sort of self-righteousness from the fact that they're employed. But it's like, how are you going to brag about that?
Self-righteousness for being employed. How are you going to brag about that?
And I don't know a single person who works a job who's happy with it, you know?
You know, like 8 people, and they all live in your house.
It's so rare. The only people that really are happy with their jobs are the ones that have found a way to monetize their passion, which is always something related to art, like every time.
Oh my God, found a way to monetize their passion. It's always art. Yeah, because there's so many fucking people just making all kinds of bank from art, right? The term starving artist has nothing to do with art.
And that is like 99% of people don't experience that.
99% of people don't experience this. These are facts. This is science he's giving. He's giving numbers. This is an upright walking Cyrax right here.
But yeah, it's not the flex that you think it is to be employed. I'm currently employed, and I'm not happy. I'm making this video right now. I don't find any pride in the fact that I'm employed. You know?
But what do you do? What would you say you do here? Just imagine what kind of shit job he must have. I don't think his parents would let him work at fast food.
It truly is inherently unfulfilling. We all intuitively know this. We all feel.
God damn it. How do you even get, that's what I'm trying to figure out. How do you get AI to spew out this shit for you to read?
And yet we do it because we're pretty much stiff-armed into a situation where we have to work to survive. But what's interesting is, you know, our economy is going to crap. The job market's terrible.
I wonder why. Because of dumbasses like this right here. This is what's going to be running the world one day? I don't think so.
Companies now have more leverage than ever with AI.
Here we go again. Maybe jobs that involve AI are not for you, okay? Maybe they're not for you. You can't just want to be in AI and all of a sudden you're an AI. It's not like those truck driving schools. They may have those commercials. They may say they will teach you, but it's...
All in all, you know, the standard of living, or I guess the cost of living, I should say, excuse me.
Which you know nothing about, living in your mom's basement. You know nothing, absolutely nothing about the standard of living or the cost of living.
Is raising at a much faster rate than salaries. And so... it just,
which it always has been. This is nothing new. It has always been that way, and it always will.
Seems less and less worth it to give up your time, of which is finite on Earth, doing something that you don't even want to do.
I mean, you either have to do it. I mean, you know, people sometimes are stuck doing something they don't want to do because they made mistakes. Like having kids, getting married too early, whatever. And, you know, you just have to do it because you have to support. But if you don't, then what a fucking excuse do you have to not find a job that you love, doing something that you love? The only thing I can think of is that you have absolutely no skill that someone would pay you for. And until you find what that skill is, or when you gain that skill, you're going to have shit jobs. Sometimes people get lucky and just fall into a good job and then learn on the job. But sitting in the basement complaining about it, typing your grievances into ChatGPT and letting it spit some bullshit like this out isn't the answer. Stay unemployed. And again, that's real easy to say when you have mommy and daddy upstairs who keep your basement lights on. But for everybody else, it's not going to fucking work. And I guess, yeah, you could go and get on government assistance, but unless you knock somebody up, get married, have a bunch of kids, that's not going to be worth it. They're not going to give you all that money. They've already figured out that system. You know, the more kids you have, the more benefits you get. You living in your mom's basement, they're not going to give you any money. You're not going to, you're not going to apply for this shit. And I hope I hope you do go and apply for some sort of assistance. And I hope they give you the same advice they gave me when I was about 19. Whenever I ended up quitting my job at America Online because I freaked out because my ex-wife started working there and got behind on rent and, you know, was unable to pay my bills. And so someone told me that I should go up to this place called Barnabas, which will help you like pay a month of your rent or help you with bills or something like that. And so I was like, okay, I'll try that. And I didn't get the typical worker. I'm not going to even explain what the fuck I mean by that. But I got this dude who basically told me to get the fuck out of his office. And he was like, you don't want to do this. You don't want to go down this path of accepting something like this. And basically guilted me, and it fucking worked. That I'm better than this. That I shouldn't lower myself, not really needing it. Basically made me ashamed for even trying that. I was young. There was no reason for me to be there. I should have a job, and there's nothing stopping me from having a job. And that's when I ended up taking the surveying job, making minimum wage, standing on the side of the road.
When I think about it, it's like literally everybody that I know that has a job is like, they're anticipating, getting on. They spend all week waiting for 5 p.m.
Oh my God.
That's just what they do. They want to get off work. They don't want to have to deal with the stress and everything.
Man, this guy is just so insightful. I mean, no one's ever written songs about 5 o'clock somewhere or everybody's working for the weekend. God, he's just fucking genius.
And now that you aren't even guaranteed to make a living if you do honest work for 40 hours a week, it's like, how can I rationalize?
But what is honest work, in his mind? I just really want to know what he says. He's employed right now, and I really want to know what he considers being employed. He seems like the kind of guy who goes through and looks for those ads that says that we'll give you $1,000 a week for opening letters or filling out surveys, just looking for the cheapest way to get through it,
or justify giving away so much of myself for so little in return. I'm about to get a degree here in the next few months.
You can't blame anyone for that except your parents and yourself.
And I keep thinking, it's like, dude, I've done honest work. I've like worked hard.
He's worked for his family.
I have a 4.0 GPA. I've like tried to make connections, and I'm just sitting here thinking, not even just me, my peers, the people that are graduating.
Which matters for what? When you're talking about your career, what does it matter of your peers? Just because ChatGPT spit it out, you don't have to read it. You could have skipped over this part.
Or not. Like, if you worked hard, put your head down, and are just honest and have integrity.
I worked hard, but I never put my head down. You gotta be cutthroat sometimes.
You truly are not guaranteed to get by.
You never have been.
People can't support their families. The economy is going to crap.
What family are you trying to support at this point?
And so once again, this begs the question, what is the point? If I'm going to try and fail, then I feel like I shouldn't even try.
I got to just process the garbage that just came out of his fucking mouth. Hold on.
If I'm going to try and fail.
If I'm going to try and... See, he's reading this shit because he doesn't even know what he's saying. He doesn't know when to put the proper pauses in. If I'm going to try and fail, yeah. But instead, if I'm going to try and fail, because he's just reading shit that's been spewed out for him from ChatGPT.
So once again, this begs the question, what is the point? If I'm going to try and fail, then I feel like I shouldn't even try.
If I'm going to try and fail, I shouldn't even try. That's busted as far as I don't think I need to prove it to myself anymore, but hopefully I prove it to someone else that this vapid airhead, basically all I can say, is just reading shit off. And he doesn't know what he's reading.
And so once again, this begs the question, what is the point? If I'm going to try and fail, then I feel like I shouldn't even try.
If I'm going to try and fail, I shouldn't even try. I know what AI wanted him to say. And it probably had a comma in there, but he doesn't know what to do with those. Somehow you can get a 4.0 grade point average and not know what the commas are for, not how to read, really. You just know how to recite the words. You know what they say. You know how to make the sounds out, but you don't know what you're saying. If I'm going to try and then fail, I might as well not even try. Now that makes a little bit of sense. It's fucking stupid, but it makes sense.
And that sounds so cynical. That sounds so depressing. And I don't mean it to be that way. I just feel like that is the
AI meant it to be that way. And you just read it.
Reality that we live in.
And you just said reality.
Ooh. I shouldn't even try, And that sounds so cynical. That sounds so depressing. And I don't mean it to be that way. I just feel like that is the reality that we live in. What is worth pursuing in relation to, you know, basic jobs? I feel like when you're unemployed, if you have the privilege of being unemployed,
The privilege of being that's dumber than the shit Cyrax has said, where he would say he doesn't have the privilege of working a 9-to-5 job. This one's saying the privilege of being unemployed.
I've been very lucky. I've lived with my parents. I'm 22 now. So,
No, really?
you know, that's the age that most people would think you should move out, which is, you know, maybe fair, but, you know, I've been extremely fortunate and privileged. And so there's just so much shame that like people put on you for being unemployed. I mean, I'm employed, but, you know, I get the rep as though I'm not, just because I live in my parents' basement and stuff like that. And I always laugh because it's like, dude, like seriously, you're on LinkedIn sucking up to some corporate higher ups that are using ChatGPT to respond to you. Like
He's mentioning ChatGPT again, which is another reason I think that is the actual product he's using and not just some other version.
You know, I get the rep as though I'm not, just because I live in my parents' basement. And
You get the rep. This is what happens when he goes out on his own and tries to come up with thoughts that aren't straight from ChatGPT. He gets the rep that he's unemployed because he lives in his parents' basement. It's just amazing how we live in a society where this can come and try to give so-called advice when having no qualifications to give said advice. And there's 84.8 thousand people who are subscribed to this thing. And there was one video where I did see someone say, every once in a while, I'll go back to this channel and look in his comments and see that this guy never responds to anybody. And he was wondering why he doesn't interact with his fans. And so I responded saying, because ChatGPT charges more for that kind of interaction. Yeah, he hit the algorithm. He ended up in my feed. And so I've already taken his titles and a lot of his bullshit and I've dumped it into ChatGPT to make parody videos. And I've made 4 of them so far, actually 5, but I haven't cut it down yet.
Absolutely cooked. I always laugh because it's like, dude, like seriously, you're on LinkedIn sucking up to some corporate higher ups that are using ChatGPT to respond to you. Like,
again, this is his real thoughts. This isn't stuff that came out of ChatGPT. This is what happens when he breaks out on his own and tries to come up with a thought on his own.
You know, I get the rep as though I'm not, just because I live in my parents' basement and stuff like that. And this is everything's a clown show, dude. And if you pay attention, it's like the people that get jobs,
so it's just a clown show. Sure, it's not cooked.
They're always like the people that have connections. They're not the most qualified. It's a game economy.
So you think you are the most qualified? That's what I think is funny. People complain about that, how these people get these jobs and they're not the most qualified. But are you? No, you're not. You're not the most qualified to do anything.
Enemy is politics. When I've had jobs, I've felt no more virtuous about myself. I have
felt no more virtuous about himself.
Only increased the stress and the responsibilities in my life.
Which are?
And it hasn't really done much for me. That's just the truth. And most people who are in less fortunate.
And the people, and the 84,000 people that are watching this idiot who are saying, yay, that's what I'm thinking too. They're as clueless as he is, and they're just hearing words. Just like he's reading words, he doesn't understand what they mean, know what the commas mean. He doesn't know how to, actually speak. These idiots don't know what he's saying either. They're just like, yeah, he's got broccoli hair, just like the people I see on TV.
Situations than me. The unfortunate reality is that they work for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to pay the bills. And I respect those people. I don't want this video to be shaming those people by any means.
Yeah, he's not shaming you. He's not shaming you for working. Yeah.
However, what is the point of having finite amount of time and then you're spending it for a corporation that doesn't care about you? It just logically does not make sense. It doesn't add up to me. I'm trying to rationalize it. They're trying to brainwash me, but my brain won't allow it,
I don't think that's exactly the problem.
I see all my peers and they're like,
no one talks like that. Only ChatGPT refers to other humans that are around the same age and same situation as you as peers. He overuses that term, just like he uses the word cooked over and over and over and over again. He calls them all peers. Announcing on social media or stuff that they're getting these jobs or
internships, and most of them are not, but the few that are, like, it's like that.
Now, what was that? All his friends are doing this, but most of them are not.
Announcing on social media or stuff that they're getting these jobs or internships, and most of them are not, but the few that are, like, it's like that, the meme on the internet. It's like, it's depressing when you don't have a job, but it's also depressing when you do have a job, because then you have a job. And so, like, yeah, I feel bad for my friends, because they it's like
he feels bad for the people who has jobs.
Somebody that I grew up with that loved they loved painting, or they loved to play sports, or they had different passions, different pursuits in life, and then it's like, what are they doing for work? Oh, they're an accountant. It's just like, wow, talk about dehumanizing. My God.
Dehumanizing to be an accountant. So any accountants out there, you're not human. No. So it's beyond this twit's mind power. It's beyond his ChatGPT subscription, because he probably doesn't pay enough to know this. There are people out there who like math and probably like being accountants. They have stupid accountant jokes that only other accountants like. Yeah, he's making money off YouTube, whether he wants to admit it or not. According to this, he's making between $7,000 and $22,000 a month. Why our generation doesn't care about anything anymore? Well, because you're idiots. If you are their chieftain, you're going to end up eating each other. School has become a waste of time. Reading books will change your life. My experience with derealization. Nobody has hobbies. How to beat depression. Only fake people win in life. 9 to 5 is modern day slavery. Everything is absurd, and I can't pretend anymore. A career is a wasted life. Self-improvement is masturbation. I'm a loser, but I am free. The art of thugging it out. I think I've only actually watched one entire video of his. This will probably be the second one. And he's definitely all about Fight Club, because if we go back here, he's got one of the videos. Where is it? I just saw it. The things you own end up owning you. So he's quoting Fight Club like he saw Fight Club. Nobody else has ever seen that movie. It's a rarity. No one's seen that. So he's like, that's deep, man. The things you own end up owning you, man.
Gosh. These are the same people that we used to talk about in kindergarten being astronauts, And here's the truth. You need to maintain your childlike wonder, that childlike persona, if you want to be happy in life. And that is what and
he never looks at the camera, and there's a reason for that. It's because he's reading it straight off the screen. I think I've proved that in this video.
Modern job crushes. You have to basically become someone you're not in order to work these jobs, because otherwise you won't survive. And that just crushes that childlike persona within you. And yeah, it's not enjoyable in any sense to
just crushes his inner child to work. And what's that saying? When I was a child, I spoke as a child, etc.
Carve out
when I stopped being a child, or when I became a man, it was time to put away childish things.
40, 50 hours a week doing something you don't care about. That's why it's like, truly, if you have the ability and the privilege to be unemployed in any sense, I think you should take it. And I'm not saying be a bum at all. I think you should pursue something that you're passionate about. You can't just live and not do any work. You should do work, but not the work that is not the mainstream corporate work. Or even trades.
A trade. Also a trade. Is what he's saying. A trade. Because that's not a real job to this guy. So yeah, if you know how to fix a toilet, and then you go and you talk to a plumbing company, and they hire you on as an assistant, and you learn the ropes from them, that's basically a trade. That's not a career. It's not a real job.
Instead, you should do something that you think is fruitful to the soul and contributes to society.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The guy, the Unabomber, I'm forgetting his name. He has...
Oh, God, he's not quoting the Unabomber? No.
The guy, the Unabomber, I'm forgetting his name. He has his manifesto is fascinating. I think you should give it.
Really? You don't know what his name is? His manifesto, though, is so fascinating.
He talks about how the Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been a tragic misstep in humanity. They have dehumanized us. They're leading us more depressed than before when we didn't have it. And it very much, I think there is a level of truth to this. And it's hard to tell where AI is going, but AI could be an extension of that.
God, he is just such a fucking. You say I have a hard on for this guy. This guy has a hard on for AI, and it's not hard to see why, because he loves it. He can't think without the shit.
You know, we have the ability as humans now with social media to connect with anybody across the globe at a moment's notice, and yet we're more disconnected than ever before. Mental illness is up. People are unfulfilled. This stuff always boils down, and we all intuitively know that it's because we're spending most of our day doing something that we don't even want to do. Those are my thoughts. Thank you guys for watching.
They are not your thoughts, you dumb shit. You had to look at that to see what it said. You had to read that those were your thoughts. Jesus Christ.